Welcome back to This Week in Film, the weekly podcast where we get together to discuss the movies we've watched over the past 7 days. I'm Nick Panunto, joined as always by Ray Rayndom and Charlie Chester.
Ahoy.
I did not expect that. Hey guys, what's happening?
Been a week, fellas. Charlie, lead us off.
All right, guys. So I went back a little bit on this one, and I wanted to rewatch a flick that had a big influence on me and my siblings and my cousins. It was one of our favorites back in the day. So this week I watched a Goofy movie.
I love a Goofy.
Yeah, who
Goofy
doesn't?
movie.
Have you ever met anyone that doesn't like a Goofy movie?
Is it a Goofy or the Goofy movie?
A Goofy movie.
Oh man, I have the soundtrack to this movie.
Do
Pretty
you?
good soundtrack.
It is a great soundtrack.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I watched
the movie.
I watched this not too long ago.
Yeah?
Probably not even a month.
No? Was your kid there, or did you watch it by yourself?
My son was there.
Okay.
No grown adults would just watch a Goofy movie.
Well, I have a problem, because I had no problem watching it myself. Yeah, so, I remembered liking it as a kid, and then rewatching it now, I realized that, there are actually some heavy themes going on in there. Like, the opening of the movie, it's a dream sequence where Max, who's Goofy's son, is it's a love scene with him and the girl he's got a crush on, and he slowly starts laughing like Goofy, and then his teeth start coming through like his dad, and he's slowly becoming his father. So the whole movie is about this fear of him becoming his father, which is like a pretty heavy theme for such like a fun movie. You wouldn't even think it, but there's some serious stuff going on in the movie. The basic idea of the flick is that Max is like a senior in high school, and he's struggling for like popularity. Finally gets a break by doing like a dance sequence.
He's desperate to be popular.
He's desperate.
Right?
Yeah, that's all he cares about. That's the only thing that matters to him. So there's this rock star named Powerline.
Awesome name.
with the yellow jumpsuit.
Oh yeah. And mark my words, that is my costume this year for Halloween. There's no doubt in my mind. Max kind of breaks into the talent show and does this bit by Powerline, and everyone is floored by it. And it's like the Napoleon Dynamite scene where he actually pulls off something pretty amazing. So he becomes popular, and just now at the height of his popularity, his dad decides to take him on a road trip, a bonding road trip that's going to be several weeks, and during those several weeks, he's going to miss like the senior party. So, there's this animosity towards his dad. So while on the trip, things happen.
He's trying to impress a girl, too.
He's trying to impress a girl, so he comes up with a lie, saying, I'm not going to be able to come to this party, because he doesn't want to admit that it's just like a road trip with his dad.
Right.
He's like, I'm going to L.A. to perform with Powerline. You'll be able to see this on the television.
Which is basically like saying, hey, I can't come to the senior dance because I'm going to be on stage with popular band.
Kanye West.
Yeah. Kanye West invited me to come
Right.
dance and sing with him.
Right. So yeah, I mean that's like the whole idea is that Goofy has this map set out for like this road trip, this cross-country road trip, and Max takes the map and he reorders like the places they're going to go to sneak in this Powerline concert. So he's deceiving his father.
He puts the kid in charge of navigation.
Right. So Goofy finds out the deception and is like mortified, and it's like the first time in Goofy's life where he's like disappointed in his son. So there's a lot of like father-son struggle here that I think a lot of people can relate to. It's pretty deep. It was moving, and the songs were badass.
They are good songs. It's a good
so
movie.
Freaking good.
The scene that I love that makes me crack up thinking about it is when they're in the South or whatever, and they go to
The possums.
The possum
Yep.
show, and that
Yep.
one possum's just clapping and going,
Yeah.
hey.
Who's your favorite possum? And it's like terrible animatronic. It's
I hadn't seen the movie in years, and when I was watching it with my son, that part pops up, and I remember it was so funny. I laughed so hard. My son didn't get it at all because he's 3, but I was laughing so hard at it.
Now, refresh my memory, because I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid. Is everybody in the movie like a dog, like Goofy?
Yeah, I was questioning that as I was watching it too. I was like, all
Because
right,
the possum people are possums.
But like all the people who are supposed to be people are
right. It's
dogs. Or is it,
Yeah,
well, Goofy's a dog,
evolution
right? Yeah.
got thrown off at some point, and
What's the
apes
science behind them?
didn't turn into we didn't develop from apes. We developed from dogs. Like everyone's a dog. They do talk about Goofy's best friend being Donald Duck, but we never see him. So everyone in this movie is a dog of some sort. So you're dealing with like the poodles and bulldogs. So those are the 2 main breeds.
Wasn't this the movie version of the TV show? Like, wasn't it a TV show?
There was a TV show, and I can't remember what came first. Was it the movie, then the TV show, or the TV
There's
show,
a
then the
sequel
movie?
to the movie.
Yeah,
I know that.
A very goofy movie?
extremely goofy movie.
Extremely goofy movie.
Come on,
I don't remember
Come on,
that
Ray.
movie.
I've never seen that, no.
I don't remember that one.
So I did a little research to find out why is this movie so good? What was the talent behind this movie?
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised to find out that it was partially written by the guys who wrote Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
Kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
additional writing credit for Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Is that just a friend, right?
Huh?
Is that doesn't he
No,
play the
he-
friend?
No,
he
the
co-wrote this.
actor who plays Booger is
Yeah, the guy who
co-writer.
played Booger
Oh.
co-wrote this movie.
Wow.
And that's his only writing cred ever.
There's some good jokes in that movie. There's
Yeah.
a lot of good bits. And
Yeah.
it's a moving movie. Emotionally, it'll get to you.
Yeah. The guy who plays Max, I was like, why do I know this voice?
He's like in everything.
Yeah. He is remember what's Corey and Topanga? What was that show?
Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Boy Meets World. The older brother, like the heartthrob older brother, right?
Yeah.
Had a best friend that was like a little Weasley dude.
Now I can't listen to you because I'm trying to remember his name.
Yeah.
Eric is the name, or is the
brother's
brother
name.
in the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Strong.
No, Ryder Strong
No, Jason
plays
No,
Sean.
He's the friend.
Plays
Yeah,
Sean.
Right.
Sean Hunter.
This is the guy who plays Max. You know his face.
Yeah.
Was in like
Yes,
everything
yes,
in the
yes,
90s.
yes.
For you listeners, Charlie showed us a picture.
Which is great for a podcast.
It was of a guy.
Yeah, so he played that, but I was like, all right, so the music, like who sang the music? And the music is like by some 90s like pop phenomenon, dude. Like I didn't know him, but like I looked him up on YouTube and he's got like 50 million views on like different videos that he's done. So they hired him to come on and just do it. But
Really?
What's
Yeah.
his name? You don't remember?
come on. I
Just
don't
show
know.
us.
I don't
his
mean to
pic-
put you on the
Oh,
spot.
Charlie's showing us another picture.
Yeah.
It's a guy.
It's a dude. I can't remember his name. All right, I'll scream it out in the middle of when you guys are talking about something else.
All right. Well,
But yeah,
great selection this week, Charlie. I
Good.
would love to know the story behind why you wanted to watch it. I don't really want to know.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So I would say if you haven't seen this movie in a while, you need to rent it immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tevin Campbell,
Tevin.
Is the name of the
singer.
the artist?
Yeah.
Wow.
Tevin Campbell.
I'll be getting on iTunes.
Well, Charlie, that was a very uplifting segment we just had. Ray, care to continue the emotional arc?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna bring everybody down. Well, not down, but I watched a movie called Sicario this week.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good movie.
This is my second time seeing it. I saw it in theaters when it came out this past fall. So I really liked it. It was probably one of my top 3 favorite movies of this past year.
Oh.
Really loved it, and I wanted to watch it again, so I did. The movie starts out with a little quote, or not a quote, little fact. The word Sicario comes from the zealots of Jerusalem, killers who hunted the Romans who invaded their homeland. However, in Mexico, Sicario means hitman. So that's how it starts.
Okay.
So Emily Blunt it stars Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, and Benicio del Toro. Emily Blunt is on a kidnap response team for the FBI. So it starts off with her team raiding this house in Arizona, like close to the Mexican border. They think there's going to be drugs in the house. They raid the house. There's a couple guys in there. A shootout ensues. They kill the two guys, but while the shootout happens, one of the guys shoots and puts a hole in the wall, and they notice behind the wall there's a body. Oh. After looking through, they find out that this house basically is just a place to store bodies, and there's like 50 bodies like in the walls of this house. Oh. So this like catches the attention of some higher ups. So when she goes back to her station, this guy from the DOD is waiting for her there, and wants to bring her on his task force to kind of find the people who are responsible for this. Mm-hmm. So she's kind of like questioning it, and her boss basically tells her like, listen, like, you don't have to do this. Like, we're asking you if you would want to, but like, this is a big opportunity for you, but like, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And she's like, no, I want to, like, you know, she wants to basically, she kind of feels like she's not getting enough done in Arizona. So they're going to go to El Paso, Texas to try to find this, one of like the higher ups of this cartel. So she's like, all right, fine. She's going to go. So she meets this guy from the DOD who's Josh Brolin. She gets on this private jet, and on the jet is Benicio del Toro. It's just those three. And he's like, you ever been to Juarez before? And she's like, Juarez? I thought we were going to El Paso, Texas. So little does she know, she's going into Mexico. And that sets off a whole thing. She gets in way over her head. It turns out that Josh Brolin isn't from the Department of Defense. He's from the CIA. And Benicio del Toro is a member of the Colombian cartel. And these guys are like way undercover, trying to take down the cartels in Mexico. This movie is like so like raw in terms of like what is shown, like crazy dark, like really gets into like the nitty gritties of like what goes on in Mexico. I mean, whether it's true or not, what goes on in Mexico, you know, with like, the cartels. I think you guys watched, somebody watched Cartel Land. Was that you?
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
Over 2 weeks.
Yeah. I saw it too. And it kind of, like watching that kind of reminds you of like, because that's like a documentary, and this kind of like tries to give you like a documentary feel of like what goes on in like Juarez is like one of the worst cities in Mexico in terms of like cartel crime and stuff like that. The movie's shot beautifully. Roger Deakins, the cinematographer, he does all the cinematography for like the Coen Brothers movies.
Oh, okay.
So he's really good. He actually got nominated for an Oscar for this movie because it's beautifully shot. There's so many like gorgeous shots. The music's great too. It's like just all like drone sounds. Kind of like I'm trying to think of another movie. I think like The Dark Knight kind of had something like that. Like, or not The Dark Knight. Inception had like the drone, like the deep drone sounds. Mm-hmm. That's what this has. Like it's a kind of like a Dread type of thing.
Like the
yeah, over and over and over again. There's one awesome scene that always sticks with me every time, or that stuck with me both times I watch this movie, is when they're driving in. The CIA/FBI is driving into Juarez to like go pick up this guy and take him back into the United States to question him, and like that the drone sounds playing like over and over and over again. They're like driving through these narrow streets and peeling around, and all of a sudden the music stops, and all you hear is like the sirens of the police cars and like the sound of like the tires hitting the ground, the sound of the cars. It's crazy. It just really stuck with me. But yeah, this movie is just like great. The performances are great. Benicio del Toro is just like such a badass in this movie, and he barely speaks.
Okay.
I read that over almost 90% of his lines in this movie were cut because he thought he was like talking too much and like giving too much away about his character. Mm-hmm. So he like went to the director, Dennis Villanueva, and said he wanted all his lines cut. And basically, like, the whole movie, he's just, like, staring and, like, making like short, being short with everybody, but it's like totally works. Like he's totally like total badass. And apparently there's going to be a sequel to this movie, which I don't really think is necessary.
Oh.
But following his character, because I guess people wanted to see more of him.
More of the guy who doesn't talk.
Right, exactly. Maybe like more. I heard like maybe like more of an origin story, so kind of like a prequel, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But no, I loved it. This movie's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely on my.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Charlie, you've seen it, right?
Yeah. I loved it. I thought not having known that that trivia about like them cutting the lines, that was a brilliant decision because any expository dialogue like building his character would not have had such an impact on you finding out that we think we're following the good guy, and then at the end the line is drawn and it's so blurry who's good and who's bad. And then when Benicio del Toro like comes through, his character comes through, and you realize, oh my god, this guy is just as fucking bad as everybody else, man, and if not worse.
Yeah, he's not fucking around, basically, is what it is.
Man, we were earning that explicit.
Oh, sorry. I've been up for a very long time.
We can. And Ray was the one who swore.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry, guys.
All right, yeah. I will say one thing about the director, which I don't know how you feel about it, but like the guy did Prisoners.
Yeah.
He did what was that other play?
I haven't seen Prisoners either.
Enemy, yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
He is a master of tone.
Yeah.
A master of tone. Like he is so good at just setting a mood, like just an emotion that holds through.
Mm-hmm.
Like one emotion. So when you walk out of there, you can't shake it off you. It's like you're sticky with it for a while.
Great.
Yeah, he's slowly becoming one of my favorite directors.
I haven't seen Prisoners, but I hear it's very uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, Prisoners is people have like mixed feelings about it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But yeah, same type of deal. Just like, you're uncomfortable the whole time. I mean, you're supposed to be, I guess.
Yeah. That's what they're going for, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Great description, Ray.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Well, I did not take any notes this week because I saw the family horror movie Krampus.
Oh, I saw this one too.
Have you seen Krampus, Ray?
I have not seen Krampus.
Oh, man. You've got to see Krampus. Preferably while it's very hot out, because the movie is a Christmas movie. Takes place over the 3 days leading up to Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Little boys, his family is disenchanted, and their in-laws are there, and they're horrible trash people.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid doesn't want him there, and everything goes wrong the night before Christmas Eve, and he tears up his letter to Santa and throws it in the sky, and that is the signal for Krampus to come. And Krampus is the Anti-Claus. I came up with that term. He's the opposite of Santa, where when Santa gives presents, or Santa gives, Krampus takes.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, does he have a crew of weird things that comes with him. I had more fun watching this movie than I have watching. Last week I watched Avalanche Sharks.
Oh yeah.
And that movie was terrible, and this movie was great. Everybody should see Krampus because it's not the best movie in the world, and the plot is stupid and everything, but it's funny. Adam Scott is the lead guy, and
love Adam Scott.
I will watch anything Adam Scott is in.
Yeah.
David Koechner plays his brother, his like redneck brother-in-law.
Love him too.
There's a couple other people that you recognize, but you don't know them, like Toni Collette. Like I know the name, but I didn't really know her face until the movie started, kind of thing. But it's just really well done. Once everything starts going bad at one point, and this is when I knew I really liked the movie, was David Koechner and Adam Scott go out of the house during this blizzard to try to find Adam Scott's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And terrible things happen. I don't want to spoil it for you, Ray, because it's definitely worth watching.
Please don't.
And anyway, so David Koechner gets injured by Krampus and his demons, and they get back to the house and they're stitching him up. And the reason that I like the movie is that David Koechner didn't try to say, nobody tried to say, well, we don't know what happened to us out there. They were both like, there's demons that are trying to kill us. We have to protect our family. So The movie is filled with practical effects.
It's like all practical effects.
And amazing practical effects too, like these demented toys, like this one Jack-in-the-Box creature is cool. It's scary looking and really well done. Like it's like a half snake, half Jack-in-the-Box.
Mm-hmm.
This weird angel thing with the tongue.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
And there are these CGI evil gingerbread men that
those are the only CGI.
I think it was. Well, the only obvious CGI.
Yeah.
And aside from the end. And it's a shame that they couldn't figure out a way to do the gingerbread men with puppets, because I feel like that really detracted away from the
I agree with that.
From the movie, because everything else looks so good.
Yeah.
And the movie, like I said, the movie's very funny. There's a lot of jokes. I mean, the movie's a comedy horror movie. And the ending was great. Everything about it was very good. I highly recommend everyone see Krampus.
Yeah. Yeah, it like bordered more on horror than comedy at points too. It was a really cool mix, because the director did that movie Trick or Treat, and
what was his name? Kevin Doherty.
Yeah, and if you've seen Trick or Treat, he did a lot of the same stuff. Like
Trick or Treat's
at different points, you forget, like, am I watching a comedy or horror? So you're not safe. You don't know what to expect next, which is cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was a fun experience to watch the movie. But yeah, Krampus.
Gotta check it out.
Cramp it out.
Cramp it.
So that brings us to everyone's favorite segment of the week, Rays Rayndom Rayquest. And last week's question was, what was the worst movie you ever saw in theaters?
Right.
And Ray, turnout on this question was a little light.
Oh, come on, guys.
One response that we got was from Jill, and she says that the worst movie she's ever seen in theaters is The Hunt for Red October.
What?
Yep. She hates it. She hates that movie. The people...
Maybe she saw it when she was young.
No, she's seen it a few times. The people that have chosen to spend their lives with her have tried to get her to watch the movie many, many times, and there's
to no avail.
To no avail. Nothing will change her mind on it. The sequence when all three subs are chasing each other and towards the end of the movie, I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat, and she just says, "This is so boring," and I just look at her. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Maybe she just doesn't like Scottish accents. Like what?
Scottish Russian accent.
Scottish Russian accents.
I feel like I don't really answer my own question every week, so this week I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
The worst movie I've ever seen in theaters was Holy Man with Eddie Murphy.
I never saw it with Jeff Goldblum.
You went to see that movie.
Yes, I did. Well, I was young, and Eddie Murphy was like hot, and like everything he did was funny to me. This was like post Nutty Professor. So yeah, I saw an Eddie Murphy comedy movie, and I wanted to go see it, and it was just absolutely terrible. And I was a young kid too. Like,
it's hard. It's hard to
it wounded you.
Say that this is because when you're a young kid, you just happen to be in the movie theater.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought it was terrible. But yeah, that would probably be the worst for me.
I would have to say, I was trying to think of an answer for this too, and there are two movies that come to mind. So I'm going to say both. Mm-hmm. One is the only movie I've ever walked out of, which was X-Men: The Last Stand.
Wow, you walked out of
that? I walked out of it in the middle of the Iceman Pyro fight. I just couldn't take it anymore.
Oh my God.
That movie's just awful, and it was insulting. But the other movie that the other movie is from the 90s, late 90s, Great Expectations. With Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Is that Charles Dickens adaptation?
Yeah, like a modern day.
Yeah.
De Niro in that too?
I don't remember.
De Niro makes some weird career choices every now and then.
This was when Ethan Hawke was like adapting everything. It was after, he was either right before or after he did like the modern Hamlet kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies where like I sat through the whole thing and I was like, I want to like this. There's some decent performances in it, but I remember like hating it. My one friend that I went and saw the movie with left in the middle of the movie because he's like, I can't take this anymore, and he went to the arcade at the mall.
Nice.
And then left you there.
And the movie was so long that he came back.
He's like, wow, it's not over
yet?
He's
like, it's not over. I'm like, it's not over. And I just watched the whole thing. It's just such a boring movie. It was boring. Like, it has good performances, but just boring.
Right. There's nothing worse than being in a theater and just like waiting for a movie to end.
Yeah.
It's that bad. Like looking at your phone or looking at your watch, being like, is this over yet?
It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember seeing. I might have seen just pieces of it.
It's not worth going back for.
Last week I said Wing Commander was the only thing that I've ever walked out on, but I've come to realize something about myself this week. The other two movies that were by far the two worst movies I've ever seen have a theme. One is Baby Geniuses.
I loved
Dude,
Geniuses.
Dude, come on. And Baby's Day Out were horrific to me. I could
I like both of those movies.
Dude.
No, I haven't seen them. I was a kid when they came out, and I haven't seen them since. But I remember liking both of those movies.
I never saw Baby Geniuses, but Baby's Day
unwatchable.
There was a sequel. There was a sequel to Baby Geniuses too.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called.
I think it was called Baby Geniuses.
I think it was Super Babies.
Okay.
Oh, is it Super Baby?
Because I think I was at Blockbuster at the time, so I remember. But the cover art. Anyway, Baby's Day Out does not hold up like you remember.
Well, I might need to revisit it for next.
There's a
oh my God.
if anybody watches there's a Red Letter Media Plinkett review of Baby's Day Out. That is, it's about 45 minutes long. It's worth every second.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie. Not that I can think. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, X-Men: The Last Stand did it for me. I couldn't take it anymore. Once Magneto picked up the Golden Gate Bridge and. But we'll get into a little more of that in our X-Men Apocalypse review. Coming soon. So, Ray, what is next week's Rays Rayndom Rayquest?
I'd be lying if I said I was running out of ideas for this for this question.
Is it time to pass the torch?
No.
Charlie's.
It's getting harder and harder. But this week, since you saw Krampus, I'm going to go with, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh.
It's not really the time for it.
It's nearly Christmas in June.
Yeah, Christmas in July. That's
Christmas in July. We're familiar with that.
Right. So there you go.
Yeah.
There it is.
What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Yeah. Hopefully we get some responses
going into
this
the
time.
hot summer months. Okay. Charlie, I imagine you'll want to say something about your book.
Well, let me give some shout outs to some good guys that recently I did some interviews for the book.
Charlie is all over the podcast.
I'm going podcast crazy lately. Plus 2 Comedy Podcast. Plus 2 TWO Comedy Podcast. I had the pleasure of doing an interview with those guys, and really fun couple guys. TV's Noah Houlihan is the main guy who runs it, and he's a stand-up comic. So if you ever get a chance, if you see him on a bill somewhere to see his stand-up, I definitely recommend checking it out. And then there is Superhero Speak podcast. Really fun time with those guys. Really know their stuff. They really know their comic books. And then the Knuckleheads podcast out of New York. Really entertaining show they put on. A little bit of everything in their show. A lot of complaining about public transportation in the city. Seems to be a running theme for them, but in a fun way. So yeah, but otherwise, my book is available on Amazon.com. Boy Zero is the name of the book. You can also pick it up digitally on Kindle, Comixology, Drive-Thru Comics, Caliber. Comics.com, I think Caliber.com as well, and also through.
We'll try to post a link to it in this week's thing because I keep forgetting to do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, thanks. Appreciate it.
People need to read this
on our website, thisweekinfilmpodcast.com.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, awesome.
On the internet.
Speaking of which, Ray, do you have any plugs this week?
I have 0 plugs this week.
I feel like. Oh, wait, I have a plug.
Yeah.
I want to say congratulations to one of our super fans, Dan. He and his wife celebrated the birth of their first child last week.
Oh, congratulations, Dan.
Yeah, congratulations.
Nice. Boy or girl?
It's a little girl.
Little girl, nice.
Congratulations, Dan and Emily.
I thought you had another plug. Didn't you have a recent bout of fame?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
How could we forget?
I was king of the internet the other day, and I'd like to thank everyone at r/jokes on the Reddit for liking my joke. I'll tell it now. Hey, Ray, what does a narcissistic cow say?
I don't know. What?
Me.
This killed it on the internet, apparently.
Yeah.
Somehow, every dad on the internet was like, I need to use this joke somewhere.
So thanks, internet. You're the best. You made my weekend. And Ray, let the people know where they can find us.
You can find us on SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Twitter, Google Play Music, and of course at thisweekinfilmpodcast.com.
And if you're listening to us on the Podcast Radio Network, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Check us out on all our social media stuff. It'll be fun. We'll have a good time. And that's gonna about do it for us. You have anything else to add, fellas?
No.
That's
it, man.
Well, if that's the end of the reel.
Oh my God.
We're still going with that?
Yeah, I like
All
it.
right.
And we'll see you next week in film.
That's a thing now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.